Welcome, esteemed panelists, to this ADAS webinar. Just to give you a background, we thought of doing this webinar because it's a technology that is uh, sort of exciting for everyone across the globe, and India is catching up with it. So that was exactly the reason why we thought we look at this technology and probably get to meet it through you all in a much better way to understand the nitty-gritties of it and what lies ahead. So welcome all. This webinar I would want to share with you has been sponsored by Zen Microsystems, which is into testing systems, automotive testing systems. It's a Pune-based company. They are a division of Race Logic. So I would rather start with Mr. Paul. With the first question, I'll come to you. I would want you to simply define ADAS as a technology suite. Since there are two vehicles, only two passenger vehicles in India today who are actively promoting ADAS technology or packaging it as part of what is being offered to the buyers in the form of the XUV700 and the MG brand of vehicles. So Mahindra has taken the lead through the XUV 700. So that's why I would want you to define in simple terms what is ADAS as a technology suite, and is it central to the future of automotive development?
Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Bhushan, for that introductory question. So ADAS by definition is driver assist. Whatever any technology which is assisting the driver is ADAS.
Right.
So the parking sensors or ABS systems, anything which is assisting a driver can be bucketed under ADAS. But today ADAS is going beyond getting into a bit more actively assisting, right? Passively assisting and actively assisting. There are two ways of looking at it, right? If you look at XUV 700, it will allow you to go adaptive cruise control. It will allow you to take you to lane keep assist, which it will assist you to get into the lane. That's an active assist. The steering will move by itself. It's active assist, right? Whereas in the past, it was all passive, like it will warning, it will tell you what's going on, right? Please, that's the key difference which is happening when it comes to ADAS. And that's a big leap to move to that area, right? When you are actually controlling the vehicle, your responsibilities are much more, rather than informing. Informing is okay, good, but controlling is much beyond that. So that's where the ADAS technologies become much more critical, safety critical, performance critical, redundancies, functional safety. There's so much more to it, apart from just getting the functionality working. Getting functionality working itself is a challenge with radars and cameras and object detection and all that. That's one angle to it. Beyond that is when you implement and put it in the car, you have to work through a lot of aspects to that to make it right to the customer, intuitive, not intrusive, all of that, like a lot of tuning and the market specific requirements, India specific requirements have been thought through. You have to think about a cycle crossing you. You have to think about a cow. You have to think about barricades kept wrongly. All of that aspect, colorful dressed people, vehicles which doesn't have the shape of a vehicle, a two-wheeler converted to a four-wheeler type thing, overhangs, vehicle overhangs, all undefined component, vehicle actors or road actors, if you want to call it, comes in. So that's what is happening. That's what is ADAS all about. Okay, assist. End of the day, it's assist, driver assist. Now, the next question you asked is it central? Yes, it is central to at least the electrical and electronics architecture of a vehicle. It is becoming very central. Architecturally, I'm talking from an engineering point of view. Okay, consumer expectations, centrality. I'm not commenting as of now. We can discuss it later. But from a technology centrality, it's very central because level 2 itself is a huge computing expectation. When it comes to level 3, which is kind of unassisted driving, the technology compute expectations goes extremely high to the extent that your entire architecture depends on that. Right. It happened when the infotainment boom happened. When we put a big infotainment system, that was the biggest controller in the system. Before that, it was all small ECUs. This became the biggest ECU, and this became the customer experience. That's the same or bigger challenge in putting an ADAS system into the vehicle. ADAS defines your architecture going forward. If you have ADAS in the car, the entire architecture looks very different. Right. Because the computation requirements are so high in that area. Right. Compared to any other domain.
Right. So that
people talk about EV.
Right. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Hello.
I think some disconnect.
Yes. We've lost. I would want to welcome Mr. Venkataraman. Mr. Venkataraman has joined us, and Mr. Venkataraman, welcome to this webinar. And the first question was being fielded by Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul, I'll come back to you again. Mr. Kirty, I would want to ask. I mean, you heard what Mr. Paul said. Is that what makes automotive engineering such an exciting career and a thing of passion?
Yeah, of course, definitely. I just continue with what Binoy was explaining, or Binoy is explaining.
If I may interrupt for a moment, he spoke about recognizing objects that don't look like a car. So we could always have a cow in between the road, and probably a unique application of ADAS technology to identify a cow or a bullock cart or something like that.
That's what Kirti was doing, and I continue doing.
For myself, actually, what I just look, if you see in ADAS perspective, very simple manner. If I have to put the things, there is an object first, which is a car. Not only the car, different type of patterns in India is there. Objects. Second thing is a road.
Right.
In India, our road are totally different. Different terrain is there from Kanyakumari to the, if you find from the up to the Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh, totally different terrain, different conditions. And third part is a traffic.
Right.
So if I put three objects things, very simple manner, object, road, traffic. And this is the deal for the ADAS purpose. And this is actually bringing us a lot of challenges to really take care of this different object, different road condition, and different traffic conditions. So again, if I have to be again partition technically or engineering, first part is a sensing, second is a think process, and third one is a actuations. So you ask me the question, how this is engineering or engineer love to do this. So there is a huge content to do. One part we have to really look for the sensing part. We have to work on the think process, and then actuations. Because this started discussion when I was telling you then control of the vehicle. So that means when actuation is happening, that we have to be earlier everything with a human driver is supposed to do all the things, and if he missed, his response is not good, then it is means maximum time accident. And in India, there is a more than 1.5 lakhs accident deaths are happening, and 4.5 lakhs more than there is a misses is happening. But when we are talking about the sensing, our sensing should be accurate, and it should be so responsive so that all our actuation should work on that. So engineering, of course, it is a really different expertise is needed. It is more collaborative expertise is needed. It is one side sensing, in between you have to do the total learnings, total image processing, a lot of algo, and third one is a actuations. So a lot of challenge for the engineers to really do.
True. But does it again India make a unique market where today even on the CV side even cows are sold? I mean, for Europeans, when I go to my European journalist friends or the American journalist friends and tell them that when they ask me about the CV scene, and I tell them that okay, we have cows selling as BS6 or something which is equivalent of Euro 6.
Yeah.
they are astonished. They find it very hard to believe. I mean, such a high technology truck being sold as a cowl. As the technology progresses, as the electronics on board increases,
Yeah.
and something like ADAS adds to it, doesn't it make all the more challenging?
There is a challenge, but if our ENT architecture is taking care of entire things, and we have to be really think about in ADAS, lot of features are there. ADAS means lot of things are there. We have to be see that it is a ACC, AAB, or there is a blind spot detections or lane detections. So these all the technologies are there. So in India, if you see, lot of accident front collision is happening. Blind spot detection is a very means it is a one of the very critical part for the Indian perspective. I was just going through some of the data. Around 12% accident is happening because of the blind spots is not. So if you see, these are the things front related sensors optimization, rear also in the chassis. Lot of opportunities there. I think this business will continue with a cowl because that
Okay.
is giving the flexibility to the customer. But as a OEM, we should be take care of all the futuristic technologies and integrate in that.
True, true. I would want to go to Mr. Ramanathan. It was quite some time back when I met Esculer, your uh, earlier chief, who used to sit in, I think, Netherlands, and at the Tata Prima T1 Racing Championship, and I had the opportunity to interact with him. It was for the first time he hinted that they, along with Tata Motors as a client, were exploring a possibility of using an amount of ADAS technology like lane change detect warning and stuff like that. How long has been WAPCO, as now part of the ZF group, working on this technology in India?
Oh, yes, true. Mr. Esculier was telling we along with the Tata Motors have been working on the lane departure warning system and advanced emergency braking system, these ADAS features for a long time. And like Binoy and Apurbo explained before, India is a unique market with unique challenges on road and traffic conditions and different type of driving behaviors and all. So we have now completed a very huge amount of driving tests, and we call it as a kilometer accumulation in Indian road conditions and tuned this system.
Yeah.
And at any point of time this year, you will be seeing these vehicles on the road with these features from the customer.
Right, right. Interesting. I would want to go to Mr. Venkataraman. Mr. Venkataraman, could you just run us through the history of ADAS? I believe it started with ABS systems, and then the other things added onto it to make it a more complete safety-oriented kit, technology or a technology suite to start with. How has it progressed over a period of time globally and in India?
Yeah, I think coming from Continental, which has a kind of a big safety heritage and also being pioneers in many of these products. Yeah. So I myself come from vehicle dynamics background. First of all, introducing ABS and ESC system in the vehicle. So this is what I've been working for in the last 10 years, and now I've shifted to ADAS to go more towards the automated driving. Of course, these are features that go hand in hand, right, with the technology improving and this vision of driverless car that is sitting in front. Um, First, the safety features, then the comfort features, then the integration of all active and passive safety elements. All these technologies are present, and globally today, we have everything. I mean, from a level 0 to level 5 vehicles, the technology is available. There are many vehicles on the road that is going around, and we ourselves at Continental participate in most of this. Yeah. So, and as one of the fellow speakers already pointed out about sensing, planning, and acting, this is what we are doing in the vehicle. Yeah, sensing the entire environment, uh, planning it with high performance computing, and then actuating any kind of dynamics, yeah, both the steering system, lateral dynamics, longitudinal dynamics, vertical dynamics, everything is taken in the actuation, in control. And this loop is each time evolving and going around. Either you increase the sensing elements much better and better, then the planning elements, the high performance, almost a supercomputer in the car with machine learning, artificial intelligence, everything's working together, and then the actuation elements. So this is the loop in which we are, and every couple of years we keep improving this and improving this. And this is where we are. And as Conti, we are working in most of this. And globally, these elements are there and also supported by legislation, supported by NCAP regulations. So all these are also pushing this up, and we are moving forward. And especially when it came to that Indian scenario, exactly, yeah, there is a lot of challenges engineering wise, but I feel a lot of these challenges could be met. In fact, a lot of teams of these Continental, Bosch, maybe ZF, everybody are working from India, actually tackling all these challenges across the world. And we also have teams looking into the Indian conditions as well. And I'm sure there is a way to tackle it. There is but for India, especially, I think we need a good roadmap. That is what we have to work towards as an industry, have a position, because an automated driving, or starting with all the safety features, assisted driving, and then finally an automated driving is a big vision. It's like somebody has to make this vision, like going to the moon. Somebody has to put a 10-year plan. Yeah, yes, we got to make it. And then we start here. The technology is probably the easiest of this equation, the infrastructure. The other elements of vehicle to vehicle, vehicle to infrastructure, V2X, all this coming into picture is also what is needed to make it really successful and bring it en masse on the roads. Otherwise, we can keep trying with certain OEMs already testing the market, pushing the system in the premier vehicles, seeing how the market reacts. I think these are all the steps. But this en masse is only through a common vision between government, industry, all the other participants. We got to make a vision for India and then move it forward, in my opinion. But technology will be available, is available already, should be fine-tuned for Indian conditions, no doubt. But luckily, the engineers to do that is also in-house available in most of our companies. Yeah, that's the good news.
Right. Mr. Paul, I want to ask you. I mean, you heard what Mr. Venkataraman said. Technology is available. The other factors are something that need to fall in place. When you were engineering the XUV 700 to include ADAS technology features, what was the brief that you had, and how did you make it happen from an Indian context? Because XUV 700 is something that you will export also as a manufacturer. Tomorrow you will take it to the other markets as well. Maybe it is the surrounding markets, or maybe you want to take it to Europe or other places as well. The point is, how did you work on the brief, and how did you make it happen against the various challenges?
So, Jaidev mentioned about industry, market challenges, data availability, and all that. It's about how we collaborate and get it done, right? So we started many years before, to actually work with a partner to actually collect some use cases, some data. The topics which I mentioned, cow and barricades and colorful sari wearing lady and all that stuff, right? All of that is not imagined; it's actual data.
True.
Okay, we collected a lot of data across India upfront, and then updated the model. The other point is we also chose a partner who is actually very mature in his solution. Okay, we don't get into an early research type baseline. There is, and again I'm referring to Jaidev's position. The technology exists. It's about tuning and maintaining and aligning it to the Indian market, and then you choose the right partner to do that, and you work with that partner to help him also improve his model. In turn, we create a solution for us, right? So reducing the number of variables, if I can put it that way. Take some fixed pieces, develop on top of it, add your value, and collaborate. That's the way we created this solution. Now, the brief, again, Mahindra, the way Mahindra does things. When we bring technology, we bring technology as affordable, as approachable to the customer, as enjoyable. So these are the standard brief for any technology. Okay. So as engineering organization, the way we looked at it is that we are not going to reinvent everything. We are going to ride on top of what is already available, but we will make it perfect for India. That was the focus, not creating a new technology, inventing a new solution. No. Take what's available, make it best for India. And that's what we did. Now, to your question about global, since this is a global solution, what we have chosen as a partner, going global won't be a, XUV700 is sought after actually globally already. Lot of interest. So I don't think we will have a constraint in going global with this solution.
Okay.
Because it's a global solution which we are using. Underlying technology is global. The tuning is Indian, so we'll have to do similar work in other countries, depending on where we go. Right? It's similar to the connected car and all of that. No, there will be localization needed. There will be local requirements which we'll have to work on and make it valuable to those markets. But the underlying technology remains the same. So this 80-20 rule, maybe you can apply. 80% of the stuff is already there. That 20% which you actually make it happen, working together, tuning, calibrating. We all call it in different names. But end of the day, it's that market specific value addition we make, which makes all the difference.
This technology, the ADAS technology suite, is largely a product that has come out of Europe and US, which are the advanced markets, or Japan, which are the advanced markets, automotive markets. And India is among the markets which is fast emerging. But there are other markets which are much slower on the emission roadmap as well. Were you to look at those markets, will your amount of work for Indian market in terms of developing this on the XUV700 platform actually help you?
Yeah, it will. Because as I said, the baseline is established, and specific to ADAS, India probably is the most tricky market.
Okay.
Because as Kirti was also telling, the type of roads, the variables are so high in our market, right? Of course, there will be some variables which are less. For example, snow. Now, our need for testing in snow is limited. It is still needed. We have very heavy snowing places, Kashmir and all that. We do test there, but the volume of customers who is in that sector will be less. So adjacent markets is straightforward. If it is totally different set of road experience, and there will be a tuning required. But as I said, the solution which we have is actually a global solution. So, and they are all mature market, and this partner we have has a very mature multiple launches in those markets. So that technologically there is no risk or no challenges. It's a tuning. It's the fitting it in the vehicle. The basic add-ons, and that's. And then there is the angle of legal certification requirements, the NCAP requirements, and all that. That again, we are not going to be falling short of anything in that area, even though India doesn't have a certification. We have very limited certification requirements with respect to ADAS. But again, the solution being a standard global technology, it will go through.
Interesting. I'm going to go to Ms. Kirti. I want you to tell us about the kind of data on the Indian parameters that have been collected, and what kind of work is happening on that front, because isn't data the primary need for ensuring that this technology succeeds in a certain market, especially a market like India, which is so complicated, and validating the data, putting it to use by leveraging AI and IoT.
Yeah.
How all that is happening? It's all behind the scene. I mean, we don't get to see it.
Yeah. Actually, for this,
you would want to put it ahead.
Yeah. No doubt, this ADAS technology, lot of things we have to be understand the object, road, and traffic, and for that we need to be really collect the data in actual conditions. We have to really drive down the vehicles across the India, get the lot of data and lot of visual data, also radar data. We have to be really analyze. We have to be make true false table, and we have to be really identify which is the true and false, and that work is needed very good teams, We need to be collect the data on the cloud, or we have to be collect the data in the vehicle, do the analysis. We have to be really segregates, and no doubt that all the input will be for software engineers to really do the for AI or ML. So a lot of data actual collection is required, but start with the basic restrictions on the test tracks. Do the calibration, very initial calibrations. In India, like lane departures, we don't have everywhere across India lanes. Now, a lot of highways are coming, a lot of road infrastructure is improving. But if you travel to the interior of the like Uttarakhand and that place, you will find it is not that disciplined. And if you find a lot of edges are there, if we can define virtually or algorithm with that key, okay, we can define the edge of the some ghat sections or some the hill stations. I think these are the things technology will bring, or these are the intelligence we have to be put for the India. So question, yes, lot of data is needed across for this technology to mature. But it is a journey. It is a learning. It is a journey as a industries as a uh, before this technology. I visited a lot of Europe country across Bosch, Aptiv, lot of places, and a lot of discussion happened this technology. But in Europe, if you see, it is implemented long time, only camera, only radar. Okay, but really this recipe we have to see how these two systems will work, what type of do, how many sensors we needed to do for the different ADAS level. We have to also look into inside out also, and outside in also. We have to be see sometime ADAS we are only thinking ki get the in front of the vehicle what is there, but inside the vehicle something is happening. I think we should be also careful, because that is also because that guy is also driving. These are the things we have to be really.
True, true. So, Mr. Venkatraman, I'm going to come to you. Would you give us a certain insight into V2V and V2I communication technologies? I mean, Mr. Kirti just touched on it as to what is happening inside out and outside in. So, would you just run us so that we have a better understanding of that communication language, which is central or which is at the core of ADAS technology development?
Yeah. though the though the V2V and V2X is probably ADAS uses it to enhance itself, but that is a technology field by itself. Yeah, because primarily we have to understand that vehicle is just one of the participants on the road. On a road, there is a full environment that participates
Yes.
to keep the traffic in flow, and so this is the basic idea that there is just a, so far the technologies have all been looking inside the vehicle, but then there is another level to it, vehicle to the environment, and this is where this technology starts in. With the advent of cloud, 5G, this technology, that's why I said this is a separate field in itself. ADAS probably is one part of this, because that enables a lot more than ADAS or automated driving. And here as well, I mean, this would be a separate session in itself to talk about what is happening. But basically, the cloud computing and 5G enables it, and you should see in the future each car connected to every other vehicle and every other participant, along with the cellular technology going, cloud computing coming in. So everything will be in a connected world. Yeah, this is a little bit of Internet of Things, and all the participants on the road will have connectivity. But it will help us. Radar can only see so much, 200 meters, maybe in the later generation, maybe even much 500 meters. But when a car to car is connected, I can see anywhere I like. I can see even further. And this is how it starts to enable, because then the sensing elements are, just to give one example of this, I can look much ahead. I can know much ahead where is the traffic jam. I can know much ahead where is a road condition that is bad, and then start planning much ahead in the vehicle. So just to give you a small example of how the connected technology could help us.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Based on that, I want to ask you yet another question. In a way, is ADAS technology development also enabling to accommodate climate change in terms of vehicles? I mean, we are talking just about emissions per se when it comes to tackling climate change or conforming to events like COP26. But aren't there in other areas which technologies like ADAS could also help? You said the connected thing where you could anticipate hazardous road
Yes,
conditions
yes.
ahead, snowfall, or
Conditions.
what the weather is going to be.
Yeah, planning the
So,
most optimized trajectory, usage of vehicles in automated repeatedly,
hmm,
putting it to use completely.
hmm,
With automated coming in, maybe the number of vehicles could also reduce because personal ownership can come down and people can put to use. So there are for sure other benefits of having autonomous and automated driving that will enable climate. There will be a clear linkage in this way. So these are some examples that I can think of. Um, yeah. Uh, Otherwise, most of the
yes.
vehicles climate topics are related to powertrain and drivetrain topics. Yeah, this constitutes 80%. The rest of
Right.
us are supporting with safety features and so on. But automated driving can bring this from the fleet perspective, from the environment perspective. This adds a lot more value that can bring advantages to it.
Uh, I will go to Mr. Ramanathan. Mr. Ramanathan, I want to ask you a very basic question. As a layman, what is driving the development of ADAS technology today when it comes to reflecting the future of automobiles?
I just, before answering this question, I just want to add a few
Hmm.
points to your earlier question
Right.
on the ADAS technologies using for environmental benefit.
True, climate change, which is, I mean, today, Mumbai has never seen such low temperatures, which is the case today.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I will just tell two use cases which are already in, we are working with some of the customers here.
right.
One particular technology, we call it as predictive economic cruise control.
Okay.
All of you may be knowing about cruise control.
Yes.
So it is locking a particular vehicle at a particular speed. And
Right.
then with ADAS, then we are working on a technology called adaptive cruise control, which also measures the distance between this previous vehicle and the time to collision, and then maintains a constant distance or constant time to collision between the two vehicles, and then still maintains the constant speed. Then one technology above this is called a predictive economic cruise control, which also takes the digital mapping from the Google or the other map providers. Then it also spots the terrain ahead, and so minimizes the fuel efficiency losses, and it acts according to this digital map beforehand. So this technology gives typically a benefit of 5 to 7% fuel efficiency benefit, which will help us in the carbon reduction, carbon footprint reduction.
Right.
Then there is another technology which in Europe and the US there are a lot of use cases, which is called platooning.
Right.
Platooning is one technology where where there are 2 or 3 vehicles are connected to each other. Then like a train. You imagine like a train where different coaches are connected. Here it is virtually connected, and where the vehicle-to-vehicle technologies are all linked together. Then when these are connected at a safe distance and together, then you get a lot of aerodynamic loss reduction. And typically, the first vehicle gets 5% improvement in fuel efficiency, and the following vehicles gets even 10% fuel efficiency because of the back reduction. So these are all some typical use cases. In India, we are also thinking using the ADAS for something like a BRTS, like a bus road transit system, where there is a dedicated road network is available. There we can have these type of ADAS technologies, which will be more both safe, comfort, as well as fuel efficiency improvement.
Right. Mr. Paul, I'm going to come to you. Your XUV 700 is out in the market, but there's another strong set of products that you have. I mean, on the commercial vehicle side, starting with the Jito all the way I mean, you go to Leh, Ladakh, and the Bolero campers and all. When you see them in four-wheel drive in full action, those are the vehicles that you have. You have the HCVs and the LCVs, and you have a host of other passenger vehicles. How do you plan to take this technology over to those vehicles which have different operating cycles, different buyer psyches attached? It's something. I mean, you are a complete vehicle range manufacturer to put it. How are you looking at?
You forgot the tractor side.
Yes.
Well,
I mean, I'm not going into off-road, off-highway vehicles. As of now, I'm keeping to on-road vehicles. So, but that's a huge range for you to really work on.
Why I specifically picked that up is it depends on the demand, right? The market demand and the XUV700 going in ADAS is more like or a high-end passenger car.
It's like a flagship for you.
It's a flagship. There is a cost benefit. No, this question probably is better answered by my product planning guys. But the thought process would be what is the customer use case and value, right? And actually, in the space of Agri, there is a lot of use cases and value. So from a technology point of view, the platform is available. Right. Now we have to figure out what is the value proposition we can give to each of the products which we have, right? And architecturally, electrical architecture wise, almost all the vehicles which we have is scalable up and down. So it's a platform solution. The way we have designed these systems. So I wouldn't say it is like a Lego block, but almost. We can. So it takes time. Of course, there is a tuning but the core technology, the core solution is available to be deployed in any product which I have. Okay. Then the bigger discussion is all around use cases and value proposition, right? Okay. So to answer your question, yes, it's possible to be going to any of my product. The decision will be based on the value proposition,
right?
And the market.
You pinned it in the sense value proposition. India is a very price sensitive market, and the way inflation is forcing short interval price hikes in vehicles, and the way salaries are not catching up with it, where do you see an opportunity for influx of such technology where you are working on a very tight budget?
So XUV700 is a good example, right? The variant which has ADAS sold so well, right, beyond our expectations. So the customer is ready to pay for the value they get. Okay. Now, ADAS as a technology, when you say we are introducing in India, a lot of people eyebrows will go up. In India, ADAS, are you going to detect cow? Are you going to detect cycle? There's a lot of doubts, a lot of people who will discourage you doing that. But our customers are much more smarter. So we design products for our customers, right? And customers are choosing this solution. Right. There, the percentage, the take rate percentage on the ADAS integrated variant is much higher than the lower variants. XUV700 has a big range of from 5-seater to 7-seater ADAS, surround sound, sonic. Actually the high-end variant is selling better. So the customer is ready. Indian customer is ready. That's my message. Yes, it is cost sensitive, but I would say it is more value sensitive. Okay. People are ready to pay for the value you give. And ADAS is seen by the end customer. The actual guys who are buying the car has seen the value. That's our understanding. Again, if you ask me, did we expect? No. This is public information. Did we expect the top end to be selling the maximum? No. But though the people have lapped it up, they love the product, the technology which goes in, and that's a good feedback actually to the industry that the Indian customers are ready when there is the good technology at the right price.
Interesting. Mr. Kirty, I'm going to come to you. On the CV side, do you think the customer is ready to pay more for a technology like this? Is he ready to understand the advantages of it as to how it could make him realize a better operational efficiency for his fleet?
Okay, I think I don't have to elaborate a lot of the things in our Tata Motors passenger vehicle safety 5-star global
True.
NCAP itself. It is a true testimony for the what customer is looking for India,
Hmm.
and customer really started understanding what is really safety.
Right.
And like that commercial also, again it is a value proposition creation.
Hmm.
We have to really look into that value propositions for the commercial, and if you find the usage cases, you will lot of use cases there in commercial vehicle segments also.
True.
And no doubt it is a commercial vehicles are too heavy. So if you ask me, yeah, application is definitely is there, potential is there. As OEMs, as a tier 1 supplier, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers, we have to be really collaborate, we have to be really work on that passenger vehicle.
Hmm.
Different type of use cases, commercial vehicle, different type of use cases are there. uh, but we have to be collaborate, we have to be work on that. So I also personally feel it is very useful features for India. The and people will recognize, people are recognizing safety is a critical things. Because if you see this accident, I just again going some data, 3.1% loss of GDP because of the accidents.
True.
So if you take that bigger perspective and understanding,
Hmm.
then it is really very well proposition for the things. But as a OEM, we have to be really work on the frugal mindset, how we are doing optimization, how we our Indian resources we are using, how we are supporting startups to come in this domain.
Hmm.
Work on that. If you see globally software, Indian software industry is growing, and here we need a lot of software efforts. So we have to really work on that and really bring the frugality. We have to be see which vehicle platform, what type of sensors we need, composition we need, which is giving overall feel to the customer as a safety, and it give the confidence to the people.
You introduced ESC function on your Signa range
Yeah, yeah,
a few months back. That see,
right,
ESC is also considered a part of ADAS technology suite.
right.
ABS is already mandatory on a certain class of commercial
Correct,
vehicles today.
correct.
In CVs, where do you see this technology going further? What kind of inclusions would we see in CVs? You have taken a lead. You are the largest CV manufacturer in
Yeah,
India.
yeah.
Where where do you want to see this technology go, and how are you going to convince your fleet guys?
Yeah, but I can see immediately in India we should really towards work on the level 1.5 or towards that directions. Again, earlier also I told you it is a journey. We should be start with a lot of things from towards the warning, then giving to the controls like that. That way we have to be do the strategy, and we have to be educate the team, and which is the lot of people are fleet owners, and for them also one vehicle is met with the accident, it is a heavy loss to them. And if I see that propositions and putting this technology on the vehicle, I think it is worth to justify the value propositions. So for us, it is of course this is the technology is evolution is there. We have to be see how to applicate in the vehicle. We have to be see in different vehicle. We have a different vehicle architecture. We have a different mechanical, different E&D, electricals, electronic architecture. How to accommodate, how to really look into the varianting. That all the perspective we have to really look into that. So I can see there is a minimum level 1.5. I can tell you people will work across in it
In CVs.
in CVs.
Interesting. Uh, I'm going to go to Mr. Ramanathan. I'm going to ask you. You heard what Mr. Kirty said. I'm going to ask you about the architecture of aggregates, powertrain, transmission, axles. From an ADAS technology point of view, what kind of changes are these aggregates going to attain? How smart are they going to get over a period of time? And where is all this moving? In which direction?
Yeah, like Mr. Kirti explained before,
Hmm.
there are four elements of this technology. One is the seeing, which is the perception management, which is all the 360-degree. There are different type of sensors are available: camera, radars, lidars, and ultrasonic sensors are available. Then on the actuation, we have different type of actuation: the braking actuation, which is autonomous emergency braking; then steering actuation, which is active steering, or transmission actuation, which is AMT, or automatic transmission, or stability control. All these are a different type of actuations of that. Then there are combinations of sensors and actuation together, like we combine the camera with lane departure warning system to have an automatic lane keeping assistance technology, or you take the ABS and the active steering technology, and then you have this evasive maneuvering assistance technology. So this different type of technology. Then when you want to go to the level 2 or level 3, the autonomous driving, then there is a lot of thinking, and then you have reactive controls or proactive controls, and then depending upon the level, then it becomes like Venkat said before, the high performance computing, supercomputer, and all are available. So the technology suites are available even in India, and a lot of even with the ZF. We have a big software team which are developing these technologies for the global teams. To answer to your previous question, to add to Apurbo, now there is a general everybody is now agreeing, the autonomous driving will be taking off faster in commercial vehicles rather than passenger cars, because ADAS is a comfort feature in passenger cars, while in the case of commercial vehicle, it is an efficiency improvement as well as safety improvement. Typically, I have visited few of the fleets in India. Typically 1.5% to 2% of their vehicles are down with accidents. So each accident, it entails almost typically 15 days to even 45 days to recover. So the fleets are now focusing very much on uptime management. Then the second one is that after GST and other implementation, now the number of kilometers each vehicle is running in commercial vehicle segment has also doubled. Previously, the people were running the trucks for 250 to 300 kilometers per day. Now they are run for 600 to 700 kilometers. So the drivers are working long hours, and the fatigue is big factor, and any of these technologies which helps the drivers to prevent accidents is welcomed by the fleets, and already a lot of fleets are experimenting. Like some of the global fleets today, for them one of the KPI is Vision Zero. Vision Zero is zero accidents. So there are exciting times ahead for the ADAS technology in India altogether.
I want to ask you, I mean, China today in some areas has trucks which are at level 5. They are primarily something that are used in ports where a lot of automation works, or they work in a certain geo-fenced area where those technologies are leveraged to the fullest.
Correct.
Why in India are we still kind of struggling to get to level 2 in CVs and then beyond? What is stopping us? What is stopping us?
Correct. China, you have seen first, they leapfrogged Europe and US in terms of electric vehicle technology. So the penetration of electric vehicle is now far more in China than the other countries. Now the same thing, they are also now experimenting in ADAS. So many startups, so many companies are experimenting, and the government is also facilitating by giving a clear guidelines on these areas. The ADAS is permitted, autonomous driving is permitted, these areas it is not permitted. Like that, there are some clarity from the government side, where they have given some confined spaces, like you are mentioning, ports, or some confined spaces within the factory. Inside the factory, there are some material movements which are permitted for level 4 or level 5. In India also now, the present government is very much focused on safety, and they are also now catching up very much. Like now, stability control is already announced. Now the AEBS is also now broadly the timelines are being discussed. But much more we have to move faster on the autonomous driving and the creating the right environment to penetrate these technologies in a confined spaces.
True. So I'm going to go to Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul, I'm going to take you on a different, a slightly different tangent. Would you not want to see your Jito or the Trio Zor probably having a smarter application, a bit of ADAS in it to make it even more efficient than they are today on the CV side?
I think, yeah.
As a last mile
Yeah, no,
transportation.
see, some of the use cases, which we talked about, like Mr. Ramanathan mentioned, again, coming to China, there is the last mile mobility within the compound, if you think. That is an area where they allow full autonomy, right? If you imagine our, Treo used as a delivery vehicle inside a community, it can go full autonomy, right? So those are enabling legal legislations which will help. As I said earlier, also the technology is there with us. We can deploy, right? It's about the value which we bring to that product, So that's the fundamental question we need to answer. Fortunately, the technology maturity is there. Even you mentioned level 5, even level 5 in a geofenced area, technology maturity is there, right? What is not there and what is not there globally is on the public roads. Yeah, the FSDs, all the stories on FSDs and all that. So the maturity which we get on the technology side globally, we can apply here. The application in India is driven by the value proposition. That's the way I put it for any use case, any usage of ADAS. And then on top of it, as we discussed, there is also the fuel efficiency. When it comes to EV, okay, we didn't touch upon that, but when it comes to EV, you mentioned, Trio, so I have to talk about EV. And the huge value in creating path planning, reducing the range anxiety, increasing the battery life. There's so much which gets linked to all this autonomous driving piece. So there's value in all of that. But then when your product's price points are at where it is, and the delta on the technology is where it is, you have to take a very judicious call about it. The value addition which you get out of it, right? You can achieve better battery, better range by spending less dollar on some other thing. You may want to do that, right? So it's all about it all will come together. It all coming together very, very, very rapidly as again the EV thing happen more in India. You will see the price points coming down of the technologies also, like ADAS also. See, any technology that way, it will become commoditized at some point in time. Yeah, the initial movers will have to pay the premium, but as the volume goes up, as the technology matures, things will become more commoditized. It will, classic, any technology you've seen in the automotive world, that's what is happening, right? What you see in an E segment will happen in a C segment and in a B segment. Yeah, some leapfrogging will happen for us because the advantage India has is we can leapfrog. And I think Jaidev mentioned the capability is there. The engineering capability is in-house. When I say in-house, in India. Yeah, so there's so much we can do, and that's the value we get. Like complete development of ADAS for Mahindra probably would have been much lower than when BMW did a level 2 sometime back, right? So the cost impact on our product development and is also comparatively lower. We managed to do things much more efficiently or lower cost. Yeah, that helps. Yeah.
Right. I wanted to ask you, digitalization is going up. The pandemic helped it accelerate much faster. From an ADAS technology suite point of view, how has that helped? Has India's command over software development added to it in development of this technology to make vehicles more connected? Because there was a time when manufacturer was happy selling a vehicle what you produced and what you sold after a certain margin. Today, he is interested in the other part of the life cycle of the vehicle, where it comes to service, where it comes to spares and other things. He wants to grab a pie of that also. So how is ADAS as a suit which will take care of the entire life cycle of the vehicle coming together?
So connected systems are getting better. Yeah, there's many more vehicles connected, a lot more cloud compute, prognosis, predictive maintenance. All of that is happening, right? So that definitely helps. Now, when it comes to ADAS and connectivity, the area where it all comes together is when it goes to level 3. Okay, and when you get into HD maps,
Right.
and cloud and cloud assisted path planning.
Right.
That those are all next gen technologies. We don't, our current ADAS have no support from the connected car. Okay. In XUV700, the ADAS work independent of the connectivity. But in future, when we get into more autonomous technologies, you cannot do it without your backend connectivity and HD maps. To your point about delivery, digitization of the market and all that, my biggest value is the maps getting better.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And a lot of investment going into HD maps. HD maps is mandatory to get into level 3. And imagine the amount of investment we get into HD map across India. So all these delivery guys will push also to get better maps, and that the whole ecosystem around mapping has to develop a lot to get into the next generations of. I see some Q&As about when will we get the next level of ADAS. My answer is whenever the HD maps is ready.
Okay, so that's where you would want your partner to mature even further.
No, it is happening. I'm not complaining anyway here. Things are happening. You asked Kirti, there are a lot of things happening under the table. Yes, it is happening. It is, as we speak, it is happening. Yeah. Okay. That evolution is also going on. The mapping evolution is also going on, which will go hand in hand to the next gen auto. So connectivity is happening. You all know that 5G will be there. Then we have the V2X, which Jaidev and Ramanathan explained. There's a lot of use cases around V2X. E-cloud and mini cloud and all that good stuff, and HD map. All of these technologies will have a huge influence on how autonomous driving matures. Okay. Till that time, to your point, geo-fenced areas, local areas, all that will happen. But in the public road, if this has to happen, you need to get all of this box ticked.
So you mean level? The difference between level 2 and level 3 is huge.
It's huge.
It's something a very long distance to breach.
It's a big step up. Yeah.
Okay. And once the level 3 is attained, level 4 and level 4 is something that will come easily. Is that how it works, or is that how, I mean?
No. You may say it that way, but see, everybody is experimenting around it, right?
Okay.
At this point in time, but level 3, at least there is a product out there. No, see, the challenge is on connected HD. I mentioned few of that. Yes. Then also there is redundancy requirements. Yeah. Okay. The cost barriers are very high when it comes to all of this. Yeah. I don't want to comment on level 3 to level 4 is easy or not, because I'm not studied enough personally. And we'll wait for that. At least I'm ready to wait for that. I'm ready to work on level 3 for now, step by step. Yeah.
I think the Indian market is still warming up to what it has been given. I mean, what you have given in XUV700 is something that the Indian customer is still warming.
And frankly speaking, it takes time to get used to it also. Okay. These technologies needs maturity from a customer experience point of view also. Initially, it may feel intrusive. Yeah. But as you use it, it becomes part of your expectation. You will start expecting this in your car, because you get used to it. It's like infotainment systems, yeah, or any technology. The customer get used to it, then you expect it. True. Even XUV700, when we were actually developing, a lot of people said, a lot of people drove it switched, like even our test car drivers, they didn't want to switch it on. Because it was a different way of driving for them, right? And then we had to force them to switch it on so that we can test ADAS also. Because they were trying to test only their typical engine mechanical systems and clock the kilometers. And so there is a lot of that getting used to, which happens in these kind of technologies.
The other side I was wanting to know is, has our proficiency in software development added to our ease of adapting ADAS technologies to Indian conditions?
Mr. Me or?
I was asking Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul, it's a rejoinder. I mean, in the sense that yet another question to you, Mr. Paul.
Sorry, I missed that question. I had a disturbance here in my network. Can you repeat that question?
Our proficiency in software, has it added to our advantage of developing unique ADAS solutions for Indian market?
It will. For XUV 700, I cannot say that. I would say our systems engineering capabilities in Mahindra did add a lot of value. But since our partners were global partners, actual software development in India was not much. But a lot of data analytics happened in India. A lot of video, tagging and all that, which goes into the data analytics part of it, did happen. So it helped. It helped, but I would expect much more help going forward in that area.
Okay. I'll go to Mr. Kirti. I want you to bring us up to speed on attaining level 3 of automation for vehicles. And Mr. Paul just said we need HD maps to facilitate that. How much time we have on our side compared to how the other markets are moving, how the competition is moving? I mean, outside India, the way vehicles are developing.
Okay.
And if we were to make India a key automotive hub, where are we placed and where are we going?
Okay, I just try to put things in some pieces. First thing is the hierarchy of the need. Okay, really we because in India when ADAS was started, nobody actually thought it will be like this type of things will happen, and a lot of OEM will become with the ADAS features itself. So what is the need and hierarchy need? So what I can feel ki, yeah, in India there is a need. Okay. Second thing is, right now these technologies are a lot of depend on the outside country, because basic hardwares, basic softwares are available from the things, and a lot of if you see the major suppliers like Bosch or you take Jaidev, these all people have backbones and they are bringing the technologies. That there is a basics are there. Only thing on top of that, we have to be really see the Indian context, how we can really build our requirement in the existing softwares, in the software codes itself. We have to do the analytics, we have to do the lot of visuals, lot of different road conditions that we have to bring back. One more thing is there, how we are planning to do the digital simulations. If we have to look for the level 3, we have to be really work on the digital simulations. Every time we can't go and do our trials, everything on the road, and then because of if we go with a road, we need a lot of time, effort, safety, everything we have to. So that digital one thing is a very, very critical as a Indians. We have to bring the level 3. We have to see that how we are bringing the total digital. And for that, we need a lot of good guys like Siemens simulations perspective. How we are bringing the simulations, how we are capturing the different road condition, use condition, and we have digitally. Today, if you see crash related things, everything is happening on the CA itself before the vehicle is designed. I think like that, we have to be really look into the ADAS part also, how we are bringing the things on the digitally. And that will be speed up our lot of developments. So I think I see that is the one thing, and no doubt ecosystem is there. Now we have to go and deep dive on the basic codes, and we have to really work on that part. Really, how we can specifically using same hardware or different hardware for the Indian context. We have to really look into all the perspective. If you wanted or if we wanted to build faster way to adopt, But in the future, if we have to be cost competitive, we have to be value propositions, we have to be really look into the Indian perspective, how to we can really do the localization, how we can do the our self-sufficient, which is a we are calling make it India our. I think that way we have to be proceed.
Uh, I remember Dr. Jindal. I'm sure you know him.
Yeah,
When he was heading the R&D, he used to tell me that they were developing the electrical vehicle technology at Tata Motors, and the emphasis was in doing a lot of things in-house rather than giving it out.
yeah.
Wouldn't ADAS as a technology suite development require a complete change of strategy where a lot of collaboration outside would be needed to get to a certain stage rather than doing everything in-house?
Yeah, if you see in the initial discussion, what I told, lot of collaboration we required.
Hmm.
Because when I talking about sensing, think process, and then actuations. So if you talk about ABS or ESC, ESP, these features are available. Now we have to work on the sensing and think process to actuate it that. So lot of features are available, but we have to be collaborate. We have to be understand the different type of sensing technologies, and which is in the if today we are talking about radar only, nobody talk about the lidar really. But long term, how lidar will be penetrate, how it is a cost effective, how we can we use the different purposes ultrasonics. I think these are the combinations we have to be bring, we have to be work on that. And no doubt as a yeah, Tata Motors, you give an example, lot of things internally we are planning to do, lot of work is we are planning, but initial stage I think will need a lot of collaborations.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to go to Mr. Venkataraman. Mr. Venkataraman, you spoke about a need for a roadmap, a long-term roadmap, in one of your answers some time back, and I want you to tell me more about it and the need for standardization. As a
Yep.
as a tier one supplier, Continental has been into the thick of things when it comes to ADAS, various ADAS technology developments. There seems to be a growing need for standardization of technology. There needs to be, and you add the need for a long-term roadmap. How do you think
Yep.
it's going to work?
I think yes. Coming from the technology perspective, I said technology is available, but to make it viable for India, to bring in the investments that is needed, to make it locally here and so on, we need to have a roadmap. A while ago, we spoke about China. I think that is the success. They have the roadmap. They would like to bring electrification, leapfrog, bring it much faster, bring in automation, define those areas where they would like to test the automation, and the government and the industry together all have a roadmap so the right investment can come in at the right time and work, because automated driving, big electrification roadmap, automated driving roadmap, driverless vehicle roadmap, all these are big subjects. Smart cities, connectivity, all these subjects are interlinked, and all this can work only with a full detailed roadmap, that we have.
Right.
Even to get to a level 3, you need a roadmap like that. Otherwise, we can try with level 1 and 2 and see. But level 3 already needs those connectivity, HD maps. All these are triggered by having a solid target in front of us where we want to reach as a society and what kind of vehicles we want on the roads in India. Our customers deserve the same safety, same comfort as anywhere else, and we got to provide this. And this roadmap has to be established. This is what I meant, and that enables us to bring the technologies and so on and bring it forward. Yeah. So this was that is the reason I said we need this roadmap. Yeah? I think it's more clear. What was your second part of the question?
Standardization, need
Standardization.
for
Yeah.
standardization, and how that is going to play a vital role. I mean, as part apart from this roadmap, institution of this roadmap, how is standardization, which seems to be the
Oh,
growing need?
standardization certainly helps. Yeah, in a way, now the vehicle is becoming almost software driven, and where probably in terms of connectivity and in cyber security, where probably telecom industry was 10 years before, now vehicle is getting into that position. So standardization has to happen, And that's the best value proposition. Once you standardize those interfaces, we can have multiple players who are best in class. We can have startups, we can have established players, because these interfaces are standardized, what is happening inside the vehicle and the outside. So the best in class solutions can come because of standardization. And then in levels of cyber security and so on, that is the next big topic once you start connecting vehicles and automated driving. Here as well, standardization plays a key role in establishing these clear protocols and solutions. So standardization definitely for bringing a level playing field, for ensuring that the connectivities is seamless, the interfaces are reduced, and having multiple players to come in. Plus, for cyber security and so on, I can think clearly that standardization will play a role. And as probably vehicles become purely almost a huge amount of vehicles tomorrow are going to be software, you got to be very clear that this is a big architecture with artificial everything in play inside a vehicle. Standardization probably is one way to understand the architecture that is going on. You can't anymore see and feel it. Yeah, you got to have these standards established at each level for anybody to understand the quantum of things that is happening in a vehicle.
So, in addition, I would want to ask, what is the level of standardization today, and in what direction is it moving?
I think a lot of things have been standardized. It basically started with the AutoSAR from standardizing the architecture and so on. The operating systems are getting standardized, at least from the interface system. The basic software that runs across the platforms are getting standardized. So in terms of software, a lot of things are standardized. As we speak, the cyber security standards are also being established, discussed, and these levels are standardized. Functional safety is also a level that is standardized across. So you see a lot of things happening in this way. Yeah? So maybe in the future, the OTA systems, the over-the-air updates, as we face the new technology, and we know that this is commonized, and people are coming together, the engineers are coming together to standardize this. The OEMs and suppliers are coming together to standardize this, where there is no competition in the solution, but at least the interfaces need to be standardized. Things are moving on. Yes, as we move towards automated driving, there is a big roadmap of things that probably needs to be standardized when it comes to connectivity with the vehicle to vehicle, vehicle to infrastructure. How do we kind of standardize this? How do we standardize the cellular partners coming into picture? So all this, of course, solutions are existing, and some solutions can be taken up. Some solutions need to be adapted for the Indian context. But there is a huge roadmap, as you rightly said. Along with automated driving, you need a roadmap for standardization as well. And here, probably for the first time, when the multiple participants are coming in, maybe India-specific solutions and so on is not confined to just one technology provider, or it's now the ecosystem have to come together. So I feel this is a topic maybe not much discussed, standardization, but here as we move into levels, I think this will be a big topic, even in the Indian context. Yeah, every ecosystem provider has to come in and have a open discussion on the technology, on the interfaces, and standardize them.
Mr. Paul, I'm going to come to you. At one end, there is a growing need for standardization as electronics on board a vehicle increases and software plays a vital role. At the other end, there are companies who would want to be as individualistic because they want to protect their brand. They want to offer something unique to the market, probably be more innovative. How that is going to happen, is regulation going to play a major role there, and that is where governments will have to come in, or will it be the market forces that will decide
on differentiation which the OEMs bring in?
The need for standardization at one end, and the need for offering unique innovative technologies at the other.
Standardization, if you look at it, is always been very linked to regulation.
Right.
Any standardization, right? So in ADAS specifically, if you look at it, I think Kirti touched upon that. Is it LiDAR? Is it radar? Is it camera? No, that's a technology evolution, right?
Yeah.
But what is the redundancy you need to put? No, you need to have the full redundancy. One system fails, other system should take over. What is the time to transition? All of that becomes standard, right? The regulation will come in and standardize all of that. Now, which technology to choose, will depend on the maturity of the technology.
So that will be
LiDAR
independent.
was
That will be independent of the regulation.
It's independent of the regulation. Okay, regulation will frame some sort of standardization around this, but because the OEM will choose a technology which makes maximum sense for them.
Okay.
And in ADAS space, there are OEMs which are believing 200% that only camera system. Okay. There are technology providers who believe that LiDAR is the only way to go. So there are very strong opinions in that technology spectrum in how to sense, right? The sensing part, there's so much going on, and that maturity of the technology will define what the winner. And the good news or bad news there is a redundancy anyway. So the smart way to do it would be one technology and the other technology has a redundancy probably. There's ways and means of using this, right? So the main autonomous system may be a camera and radar system, and the fallback could be LiDAR system. Like there are ways of architecting it, and that's not going to be regulated in my view. What would be regulated is the safety aspects of it, the functionality aspects of it, how the system should behave. That will get regulated, which will drive standardization. Now on software, Jaidev touched upon it. Yes, there is a lot of software which goes in, and there's a lot of architectural standardization happening. AutoSAR is a good example. Genevieve was another good example on infotainment. Interface standardization is happening. There is forums, Covesa is one of those. There's multiple API standardization going on globally, which to help anybody to, not anybody, like people can contribute to the overall development of components which goes in rather than closed systems. Again, I don't want to name the OEM, but one of the OEM who is very ahead of everybody else is not ready for that open system. They are very closed. Okay, so there are variations of that in the market, but I agree with Jaidev that there is a lot of value which will happen when the software layering will get standardized, the interfaces will get standardized, architectures get standardized. So that will happen, and the content of software is going in. The high performance compute is coming in. As I said, my first remark on ADAS was ADAS will drive the electronics architecture, because the compute requirements, the AI algorithms to be run, the computer vision algorithms to be run, that will drive the electronic or the compute requirements, what we call compute, which is nothing but a bigger chip and a bigger performance chip. That will be a big factor when it comes to ADAS. Okay, and then the software will run on top of it. So that's my view. Standardization, yes, will happen, but are we as standard as what we should be? I think it's too early because the technology is still maturing. There's multiple tracks running. So once the technology is mature, the hardware standardization will happen more, and regulations will help the standardization as we go forward.
Interesting. Mr. Kirty, I'm going to come to you. From what Mr. Paul said, I have a curious question for you. Is the place of an automotive engineer, a traditional automotive or a mechanical engineer, fast been replaced by a software engineer to be a mainstream element in the auto industry?
It's an interesting question. No doubt, if you see not only ADAS perspective, I think if you start when I joined this automobile, that time total electrical content was for the vehicle cost, it was 5%. And now if you see in the vehicle, it is more than 20%, 22%, and in the high end C class, it is more than maybe 22, 23%. So if you see the path of the cost or content on the vehicle, electronics things are day by day, it is growing. Now question is coming, you just see lot of startups are there in the EV segments. Lot of small guys, they are coming in the EV segments. And one of the forum I was discussing, young college guys, they are coming, they are working for embedded, they are working for the software on the electric vehicles. So there is a transition is happening, and what I can't call it is a reskilling of the people. We need to be reskill the people. but vehicle dynamics related things never will be go out. But we have to be really look into the how to do the standardization. Capability will be moving. Capability will be moving towards the electronic side. It is on the embedded also. It will be on the embedded software. It will be lot of things will be software, because software, when we are talking about, we are talking about ISO 26262, AutoSAS, and now big thing is that now we are vehicles are connectivity is there, V2X. So it is need really lot of security in the hardware to our cyber security. It is each and every servers, each and everywhere, huge security is required. Earlier, our issues was just like a functions only it was delivered. Now all the functions are getting integrated, and a lot of communication is externally happening. So these are the side it is required people to reskill the things. People really look into that, not only the software, but we should be really, people are looking for the embedded hardwares also. Embedded, lot of SoCs are coming, new SoCs. If you see the SoCs now in vehicles, sizes of 40 nanometers size of SoCs, and with a more better performance, more better computing capabilities is there. So like that, yeah, people need to be moved, but it will not happen suddenly. Like as globally we are moving from the zero emission, like that there will be a some sweet spot where all things will be get balanced. But yeah, content is always moving towards that. And maybe software will be I can see in the in future in education policy, or in the first year of the graduations we take, we earlier some of the subjects are very mandatory. I think it is at that time. Now as a institutes also, people look into that software. Basic understanding of the softwares is also is needed from the first day. And sorry, I'm correcting further that not only the
Mechatronics.
BE, not BE, frankly speaking, from the my son, he was started 10th 12th, he started Python.
Oh,
So I think like that we have to be 10th 12th standard also, people should start getting the sense of the software. And it, he may be mechanical, he is electronics, or he may be software, but software understanding, I think it will be help as a country. So I'm looking for recommending on the future colleges should really take this is the one of the core subject for the every domain. If person is there in anything, because so much of digitization, so much of connectivity we are talking about, it is needed.
true. Mr. Paul, I'm going to come to you. You heard what Mr. Kirty said. Is academia becoming a important part of the development of such technologies? Do you see an increased involvement of academia, universities, uh, collaboration of OEMs with universities for development of such technologies and innovation? That's one part of it. The second part is going to be I'm going to take you to a more practical part of the ADAS technology suite. How is it influencing insurance costs and operating costs of a vehicle? So two questions to you.
So I think no, I'll take from where Kirti left. Understanding of software engineering uh, becoming a mandate. See, when we all did engineering, the first thing we do is to go to the lathe machine. Whether you are an electrical engineer or electronics engineering, the first course will be around lathe and fluid dynamics and all that, right? Shouldn't there be a computer lab for mandatory for everybody? Now, that's a question we should ask the academia. But it's not for becoming a software engineer. Software engineering models, if you look at it, the systems engineering is the biggest piece. So even if your capability is on, let's say, brake system, his knowledge as a systems engineer is so critical for the right software development. But that person needs to know software development methodologies. He don't need to become a software engineer. But if you look at software engineering, I don't know the exact data, but based on my experience, 30% of the time only you're actually coding. The remaining time you are actually speccing, architecting, and testing, and debugging. Those are skills you don't need actual coding knowledge. You need systems knowledge. So it is very important to understand this, and people to reskilling is required to understand the software development methodologies and all that. But I don't think coding is a skill needed for becoming a software-oriented engineer. I don't call them software engineer, I call them software-oriented engineer. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where the academy need to help. Now, to your question about is these technologies, the academy linkage is increasing? I don't think so. Increasing, maybe not. Yes, it is there, it is happening. It's been there with engine development also. So it's always been there. And Indian academic, like IIT Chennai, IIT Madras, for example, sorry to say, no, IIT, it's still called IIT Madras. IIT Madras is a great space where we collaborate with, Mahindra collaborates with. There's a lot of common development which we do. So capabilities there. There is a lot of electronics, software-oriented capabilities in our institutions. The level of engagement, is it increasing? I don't think so. To me, it's standing pretty flat. Whether it was mechanical technologies or electronics technologies, software technologies, my experience is that it is pretty stable. Okay. Startup ecosystem, yes, the academies are contributing to a lot of startup ecosystem, which gets in turn utilized by the industry. So in my view, that is where the bigger growth is happening. The startup ecosystem is getting more mature, get support from academy and industry, and it helps the industry. So off late, again, because it is more software driven, the startup ecosystem is maturing much faster, and they can play on the platforms. The platforms are available, right? So that's where I see a lot of value happening, and that's where the standardization helps to help the startups to play. Today, anybody can create an app because Google has defined it or Apple has defined it. So if you think about that in that angle, if we can define as OEMs and the key automotive suppliers to define an ADAS platform to play, there could be a startup value creation which can happen. So those are spaces where it has to grow, but I see that as a bigger trend. The value which a startup creates on the product. We are already seeing that in the infotainment space heavily, connected space heavily. It can happen in other space also. Okay. I think you asked me about.
So that's perhaps what is ensuring that companies like Tesla's and even companies like Google's, which have nothing to do with automobiles until now, probably are suddenly finding interest and getting someplace in the automotive world.
Yeah, no, I think there are the entry barriers, and that's a totally different topic from an EV entry barrier discussion. EV entry barriers have come down, right? So that's what is trending there. For Google, like it's a public domain knowledge, for them, the autonomous car was the best AI problem to work on, right? So that's the genesis of that, not necessarily anything else. So definitely autonomous is the best AI problem to work on. And your AI knowledge and capability develops a lot when you work on autonomous, any company. So there's a in a way vested interest in creating more AI capability, and autonomous is the best problem to solve. So you have to look at it that way. All these trends which you see, EV penetration, EV entry barrier, that's a totally different trend which has created all this new competition for us. Yeah.
My second question was on the operating cost of the vehicle and insurance.
Insurance.
This ADAS technology development, isn't that influencing that and helping that to come down? The insurance cost to lower
the whole concept of UBI, usage-based insurance, the primary mover will be the connected car, because you will be able to gather a lot of usage data of the way he drives the car. But ADAS, as it matures, yes, it will help. And I think we touched upon some of the areas earlier, the fuel efficiency and the less accidents, the
driver behavior,
data points, right? The driver behavior, the whole, if you have an ADAS connected, the probability of accident is lower. Obviously, the insurance cost will come down, right? So it's pretty straightforward that ADAS fitted car insurance will come down, right? On top of it, you also have the usage-based data with connected car. So these two will definitely help level the insurance cost into the right cost based on the actual usage.
Do you think the insurance industry in India is geared for that? I mean,
they are getting there. It's they're working.
Given the ADAS technology on XUV 700, would that particular model benefit going forward from an insurance point of view?
There are some players who are ready to work on an UBI approach. UBI, user-based insurance approach, is not a standard offering by anybody, to my best knowledge. But there, we have talked to few of those organizations, and they're very keen to work on that. Mostly around the usage-based insurance, which is connected car related. ADAS is a given in that discussion, right? At this point in time, I'm not in a position to say that they're already reducing the price or anything. I don't know. But technically, as well as strategically, it is possible, and we are already talking to few of them. But there is no legal framework in India to do that.
True. I'm going to go to Mr. Kirty. Wouldn't something like this, where a fleet operator is going to be able to take an advantage of lower insurance cost, be a very convincing point to sell an ADAS technology suite on your trucks or buses?
Yeah, I think we have to be really create these avenues, and particularly this fleet guys. There is a good opportunities there, but today in India, no proper framework is available.
Right.
And that we have to be educate to the insurance company, fleet edge. I think it is a need again discussion. We have to be again. It is started. I think connectivity is the one thing there. It will be start the journey, and ADAS and this all the things will be get attached to that. If I can see the behavior of the driver and analyze, and that give the confidence to the insurer key, okay, this guy is or this person is driving very good, or this company is driving very good, these guys are maintaining very good, and insurance, then he will get the secure, and then people will be really work on that direction. I think that in as a industries we need to be collaborate, and that is a lot of in pockets discussion is happening, but maybe need one platform to really discuss together to see that what is the value propositions are coming. But I think it is needed with the connectivity. It can't be standalone only for ADAS. I think we have to be work together with connectivity with ADAS, and ADAS will be the part of that. It will be no doubt. It will be prevent lot of the things. It will be give lot of early warning. It will give lot of control to the vehicle. Automatically, your accident will be reduced, fatality rate will be reduced, and it will be improve the overall insurances perspective. And their risk, which is today is in India, is very high. It will be drastically, it will be reduced. So need
5G,
collaborations. Yeah.
5G is happening, so 5G should be a big.
Yeah, but we when we are discussing for this connectivity again in India, we are 4G maximum. Lot of people are there. 5G also it is there penetration. But what is the penetration is there?
So we are still at 2G. To be more practical, we are still at
2G, and I know in the few of the path of the few of the country places, no signals are available now also. After that also, so a lot of time we have to be no doubt we have to be go forward. We have to be do, but we have to be think about where this connectivity is not available, where how we can manage the data, how we can use the connectivity without compromising the customer touch points.
Okay.
So this is the needed, but connectivity is the one journey towards that collaborating with the insurers.
Right. So, Mr. Venkataraman, from a supplier point of view, the penetration of ADAS in vehicles in India is still going to be in the slow lane for some time yet?
Yeah, I think so. But before I start, I'm a mechanical engineer. Okay, so I'm a mechanical. We understand everything, so we can do everything. Yeah, so that is, as I rightly pointed out, I think the engineering stream is not anymore. As long as you understand the system and the domain, you can make electronics, mechatronics, and software solutions. Yeah, so maybe if students are watching, that's the message. We would like more understanding the system.
In fact, sorry, I'm interrupting. There's a question. I'm actually asking you a question which we have received from one of the attendees about this. I mean, he's asking what will be the penetration level of ADAS technologies in the foreseeable future in India. So that's what.
Yeah. So to me as well. We thought it will be slow because we are still in discussion about legislation of ESC, AEBS. We have started the discussion with different government forums and so on. And there was no strong roadmap that was seen. Um, we knew that the OEMs have to introduce this and test the market. So I was pretty happy that Mahindra, MG, everybody is coming out and testing the markets. And today is when I realized the higher variant is having a much higher take rate, which means the customers, which we anticipated, that the customers will be educated, and once these safety features are out, they may be starting to demand. So that pull factor probably is starting up. Hopefully, the regulatory factors also catch up, at least with respect to safety. AEBS, which ESC, AEBS will start the whole journey towards the more levels to come forward. Yeah. So penetration today is more OEMs testing, customers pulling. So this is where it is, and hopefully this catches up and goes. So I expect maybe 2024, 25 onwards, the AEBS coming in, a lot more discussion on Bharat NCAP, which is not there, but at least those things driving pedestrian protections, all these things catching up speed. Yeah, then things will happen. Yeah, driver monitoring systems. A lot of topics are there, which enables the safety, which probably reduces the accident, surely reduces the accidents. For fuel efficiency. So all these topics are there, and if we can put that roadmap together, I'm sure suddenly we will see a momentum. Added to this momentum, if the pull factor is also there, and OEs are also willingly introducing all this and trying to differentiate, I think everything will catch at one point, and we'll push this forward. So,
right. Interesting. Mr. Paul, I'm going to come to you. Mr. Venkataraman just said the pull factor. I'm going to ask you, there's a question from one of the attendees here, that the waiting period on the XUV 700 is about 1.5 years. Do you think there might be many competition by that time? Would you lose an edge on it? Edge on the novelty factor of ADAS technologies that you introduced? Or would you be adding more to it?
Okay, now I should not be commenting on the waiting periods on a technology forum like this. But since there is a question, I should address that. ADAS technology, whether it is relevant after 1.5 years with this level, what we have done in XUV700, I believe so. I don't see any major challenge from a content point of view. Whatever we have done in 700, the AEB, ACC, the features are there. No, I don't want to call it. It's all completely future-proofed. Okay, but within a year or so, it is not going to become irrelevant in the market. Okay, so that's a straight answer to that. The vehicle will still be very relevant. The technology which we have in there is pretty relevant.
And I'm sure you will continue to innovate.
There is always
going to bring in more features by the time.
There is always going to be a continuous upgrades, especially on the connected space, where it's a platform to play, right? So that's a continuum. It's and as I said earlier, also in the discussion, Mahindra solutions are platforms. So there will be continuous improvement and add-on additions as we move forward. Yeah.
True. I want your view on the regulatory framework as to how it should be. Is it conducive to such developments, or it should be more conducive or more accommodating of from a policy front for developments like this, which are safety and convenience oriented? I mean, ADAS is all about safety and convenience, about zero accident vision. So essentially, the goal is that. So what's your take? Where do we stand? Where do we need to go?
So I think a bit more collaboration would definitely help. No, and that's more than regulation. I would say coordination. That's a better word I would like to use from a regulatory framework or a governmental framework. No, creating a playing field for people to come together and do something. Today ADAS is developed on an individual organization basis. At this
you are pushing it as a manufacturer. You are pushing
as an OEM. We are putting our foot forward and pushing it in, right? As a product differentiator, if you think about it, right? But if you want it as a industry-wide drive, then definitely there is a lot of coordination needed. And the point which Ramanathan earlier mentioned, we have to create a self-driving area zones, like whether it's a port or whether it is inside the community, what I mentioned. So those are the areas which will help in accelerating this development. Okay. Today, even if I have a level 4 vehicle to be tested, it has to be constrained. It is constrained within our own test tracks, for example, right? So those are areas which will help to create a better platform to accelerate the development. I think that would help, but is there a constraint today? I don't think so.
Right. So it's still somewhere to do with regulatory framework as to who will take the responsibility in case of an accident.
Oh yeah, those portions. I think we typically follow a European or a global directions on that, right? And I think those frameworks are available. It's a question of establishing that in India. And I'm not saying that is urgent, but it's a natural progression to me. Those regulations will be a natural progressions which will happen, and those standards are available. We have to tweak to the Indian requirements and Indian milieu. Beyond that, it's not a big challenge.
Okay.
It's not a creation. It's already there. There are some references. There are some guidelines. We have to use those. That's not a biggest enabler. The biggest enabler would be a collaborative platform, which can work on some new technology, new developments around autonomous level 5, level 4. So that there is a momentum created.
Right. You mean some technologies that are exciting, that are breakthrough, that will bring something really new to the value stream.
Correct. And we have seen that like the Indian ecosystem can actually create a lot of very interesting solutions. Think about telecom. The frameworks and the competition which got created helps, and the volume helps for us, right? But there has to be a catalyst to that. But that catalyst is still not there. It's all individual OEMs, individual companies working on it independently. It can help.
Right. You reminded me of a gentleman who built a miniature Jeep sort of a thing, and who was awarded the Bolero by Mr. Mahindra recently.
Yes. So a lot of innovation. That's very. And we are going to get that in MR. We are all.
Yes. That's coming your way. I was going to tell you.
It's coming our way.
Even I would be keen to see what it is.
There is so much of ingenuity we can tap into once we create a platform around it, right? Even app ecosystem, and gaming. There's so much contribution from Indian engineering into the even at the global scale. So if you ask me, that's a value which we should tap. There's a potential opportunity there. I think Jaidev also mentioned that as a but I think that can accelerate. That can also create a lot of value in computer vision systems. How do we make it more efficient? How do you make it less energy consuming, less SOC processing speed consuming? Possibilities are there. There is it need not be this technology need not be for premium vehicles. We can democratize this if we work on it.
So in fact, I'm going to go to Mr. Kirty with the same question where Mr. Paul left. ITS is a technology in the making when it comes to Indian buses. I mean, almost all the public transport vehicles today are part of the ITS system. Some are very intelligent, some are less intelligent. It's again considered a part of a ADAS technology suite. So there's a attendee who's posed a question that can ADAS technology be integrated with bus telematics as a future endeavor in days to come? So somewhere I think he's touching on that ITS part of it.
Yeah, I think
how would you
answer? A simple answer is yes. Yeah, it can be integrated. ADAS.
Some insight into it.
Okay, coming back to the ITS. ITS also, yeah, there is a buses. It is a one of the mandatory, but state to state there is a different requirement, different composition is there, but basic requirements are very well defined. But all the state there is some delta variations are there. Coming back to this ADAS, I think what we have to see in the future, if you see, can we do the look like cloud sourcing, like that means all the vehicles can connect with the cloud, and I should be know from here Pune to Mumbai I'm traveling, what is the road conditions are there, if morning some cars are going, and get the data, do the data process, and can we really distribute, penetrate to all the people to help them, other people to plan their alternate plan. So like this type of, I think we
Right.
have to really look into that. ADAS data again, if something accident happens, some data is there. Some of the drastic climatic conditions are there. If you see this, if in Delhi, Agra,
Weather events.
high weather,
Yes.
so bad conditions, and if that data is there, it through ITS, it will be in the government portals. It will be can be really published to the lot of places to people to protect themselves. So yes, answer is there. Lot of opportunities is there to work together, integrate the system. A lot of use cases, 100% it will be there to really to benefit as a society.
Right. There's another question that has again come from another attendee. He's asking how accurate and precise are ADAS features on CVs, on Indian CVs, considering many lanes do not even have lane bifurcation.
I was just talking to you. Means initially, I told you this is the challenges in India. Lanes are
True.
not there. We have to be really develop lot of algorithms to really to find out and to intelligent enough. So a lot of
Hmm.
AI machine learning we have to be do for Indian context to really to define the lane.
Right.
Okay, we have to be assumed. We have to be see the what is left right. I think there is a process. I think these are the value creation we have to create as India,
Right.
because these are the challenge as Indian or Indian continent like countries we will face, not the European country, because they are very well defined is there. How we are really identifying the age of the roads. I think how we can. I think that is the main things to develop in India.
Right.
A lot of work is going on in that field. A lot of tier one people are working on this to do this intelligent for Indian perspective. So
True.
it
True.
is, yeah, it is a challenge, but it is need some intelligent in the system. But it is possible. It is possible.
Right. Right. Mr. Venkataraman, I'm going to come to you. There's another interesting question that has come from one of yet another attendee. He is asking: is government already constructing roads and infrastructure based on ADAS? What would you want to say?
I think I should say that the government is certainly aware of this. Yeah? There is no question about that. Because on several forums and through ACMA and other forums, the North is always asking us for inputs, so we are able to provide these inputs. They're aware of it, um, and I think in the last couple of years, the amount of road construction and connectivity across has certainly improved. Yeah. And I think the basic infrastructure on the roads, especially things that are connecting cities and so on, is available. Just a question of marking the lanes and discipline and other infrastructure coming in has to be set up. But if for example, if you ask, could there be a city to city travel where we could at least introduce some features of level 2, level 3? I think yes, if this is possible, if something is marked, then we can make it happen. The basic stuff is there. That is how I would like to answer it. But if everybody comes together and creates that vision, I keep again and again saying, we should be able to achieve this. And as an engineer, that is exactly what we also want to do. We want to bring in safe and comfortable cars in the Indian road conditions and so on. So we are also looking forward to it. Yeah, that's how I would like to say. Maybe
Bhushan, I would like to add on to it.
Yes, please. Sure.
As no, there is no special road requirements for ADAS to start with.
Okay.
Yeah? If you think about Indian roads, we may be having actually more ADAS drivable roads than many other countries.
Oh, okay.
Right? You think about it. The amount of highways and freeways we have today, it will add up to many more kilometers than the total amount of road many other countries have.
Okay.
So where is the problem? In all the roads, we cannot use ADAS, understood. But there are highways which are pretty good.
Okay.
Right? And that is a lot of investment are going in, and we should appreciate that. There are roads where we can actually do autonomous driving today. Yeah.
So,
like for example, Chennai to Madurai highway we drive, we can actually do complete ACC for kilometers, like 200 kilometers. We can actually do it on continuously. It's doable today.
so somewhere there's Yeah. So somewhere there's a lack of information or lack of awareness.
No, no. I think no. People have to no. I'm addressing the person who asked that question. Think about it in this way. Yes, 100% of the roads are not ADAS drivable. Agreed. But where you are living, you will definitely have an opportunity to use the complete ADAS system in some roads in India already. Yeah. So that's one step. Yes, we would love to have all the roads capable with lanes and all that. And in parallel, the driving habits also improves. And in parallel, the crowding of the road reduce. There's so much we would love to have. But on the highways today, it's possible. And I think that's positive. That's a good starting point. And a lot of good highways are coming.
I agree with the Binoy. What he's telling means one thing is that people habit should be really to practice that, to really use the ADAS. I think once it is there, majority of road inside city also can be driven with a ACC and the traffic situations.
So you mean there's a lot of need for driver education? I mean, when BS6 trucks came out, driver education in terms of attaining fuel efficiency and those various driving modes and technologies that came in required driver education.
Right.
So this also is something like that. Basically, reskilling of the drivers as well.
Correct. With this technology, they have to be reskilled and they have to get the confidence to drive with the technology.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a habit formation more than reskilling. Driving habits, like when you drive from a manual vehicle to an automatic vehicle, right? A lot of people struggle, but then after few times you switch over this way, that way, you get used to it, right? The first time you drive an automatic vehicle after you've driven a lot of manual gear, you struggle, and the other way around also you struggle. But after a few times, you figure it out, right? It's a habit formation which happens.
I think reskill to habit. I think that is the journey.
Yeah. No. The problem, Kirti, is that the moment we say reskill, Bhushan will ask, are you going to run training programs?
Well, somewhere I feel the need for our training schools of where the licensing happens to be upgraded also. I mean, have they kept up with time? How many of the
driving school uses automatic vehicle today?
None. So exactly, I mean, how many of the people who actually get a license after completing a course in a driving school are even capable of driving on the road with a complete understanding of controlling the vehicle? So,
the point about ADAS is all about do you get used to it? It's an assist technology.
True.
No, you get used to it, you love it, you will use it. And my point is, in India, it's definitely usable. And whatever we have done in that vehicle 700, it actually drives. Somebody said track 2-lane, a lane departure warning. Sometimes we even do it. I know there are a lot of tuning done. I would recommend you guys test it out to adapt to the Indian requirements also. Even with lane, there are some areas where the lanes are there, then it misses and then it comes again. A lot of that use cases is not present globally, whereas it is seen in our roads, right? We have done some tuning to take care of all of that. It will continue it will not switch off completely, even if there is a intermittent breaks. So there's a lot of that nuances which goes into it in making it ready for the market. But to me, the highways in India is on par with anywhere else from an ADAS need.
Which is a very interesting comment you have made. I mean, even Mr. Kirti, it's an interesting comment. I mean, it kind of enlightens us on the kind of infrastructure we are having today over past.
Yeah, I think somebody has to do a research. I didn't do it, but the number of kilometers of good highways we have probably is as big as US, as long as US, probably.
Okay.
Maybe bigger, maybe longer. I don't know.
And some sections are better than in autobahns.
Oh yeah, Jaidev. Yeah.
Yes.
Can't agree more.
Interesting.
Yes,
This is the last question. We're running out of time. In fact, we've overshot by about 30 minutes already.
Yeah,
it's been an interesting discussion. This is the last question. I'm going to go to Mr. Ramanathan. It's about, there's a reader who is asking, ZF is working currently along with Iveco in Europe to develop advanced ADAS. in India, what kind of development ZF wants to bring as far as ADAS development is concerned, and which way would it want to support its clients?
Yeah. In India, we have already working with many of the OEMs, like for example, Mr. Kirty is here. We are working with the Tata on the advanced emergency braking system and the lane departure warning system. And we are also working on the ACC and lane keeping assistance technologies. Then we are also working on like different OEMs. We have different type of features we are introducing in India. To answer to the question of the reader, the attendee on the what we are working on Europe with some of the OEMs are, we recently introduced the open platform technology called ADAPT, Autonomous Driving Open Platform Technology, where the OEM is provided a lot of flexibility to go for level 4 or level 5 autonomous driving. So instead of we have the capability to provide up to level 4 or level 5 system solution, but we also give the flexibility to the OEM if they want to go for a virtual driver software from any other manufacturer, like for example, in China, many of the OEMs want to go for Baidu kind of, or somebody want to go for Google virtual driver, like that. So then we supply them the basic actuation system and the basic ABS and lane keeping assistance system and stability control. So this provides a basic framework to protect the vehicle. Even if the virtual driver, some software glitch is there, still your vehicle is protected, the pedestrians are protected, and you are able to stop the vehicle and bring to a halt. But so it gives a standardization. When you talked about standardization in some question, this provides a standard interface to the OEMs to go for level 4 or level 5 autonomous driving type of environment. Then we are also working with different OEMs. Like there was a question some reader has asked how the connectivity and ADAS technologies are interfaced. Then I would like to touch upon, so there are some simple use cases, like for example, using the connectivity device, you can actually do a driver performance evaluation, how well he is driving, whether he is doing rash driving or not. So you can give a scorecard, and based on that, some of the matured fleets are actually giving performance incentives to drivers based on these type of scorecards. Then it's slightly additional, like for example, you can combine a ADAS camera with a connectivity device. Then we have a incremental technology called critical event monitoring. Like for example, suppose you meet with an accident. Then there is a technology, the camera will record automatically 10 seconds or 20 seconds before the accident, 20 seconds after the accident, and put it in a site kind of a short video and upload it into a cloud. So these videos will become a useful tool for the insurance providers to investigate and settle the claim for. So these type of lot of interfacing technologies between connectivity and ADAS are available in ZF portfolio. Maybe I can talk for hours together on these technologies.
So interesting. Thank you so much, all the esteemed panelists. Thank you so much for giving your time. And I think it was a wonderful discussion. I got to learn a lot. So I'm sure the attendees would have. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Bhushan.
Thank you very much. It was great. Thank you.